Since 1993, Action Coach business coaches have lived that vision by helping business owners across the planet build great companies, create more jobs, and truly grow their communities. Real people getting real results. We've always believed that being in business should give you more life, and right now we believe in something even greater. The abundance of those amazing business owners, the abundance of the employees in those companies, the abundance of providing free education to every business owner and every local or national business group globally, the abundance of being there for you and every business that needs us right now.
Hi, I hope I am audible. Can somebody type in the chat box?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think there was some issue with the connection. Thank you, Coach Azad, for setting the premise and introducing me. Good evening to all ladies and gentlemen who have joined us for this webinar today, taking time out from your busy schedules. Before moving forward with the 6-step methodology that Action Coach has, I would like to share a bit about myself. I belong to a place called Chalakudi in Thrissur district in Kerala, and I'm currently settled in Cochin. So I have completed my schooling from UAE in the Middle East, after which I completed my graduation in mechanical engineering and post-graduation in marketing and HR. So I have over 16 years of corporate experience, and I've worked across different organizations and different functions, primarily in sales, marketing, and business development, and also in business management with a retail focus. I mean, I've mostly worked in retail-oriented companies. So ICICI Prudential, HDFC Bank, GE Money, Mahindra & Mahindra, and McDonald's are some of the brands with which I have been associated with. So coaching is a passion which I'm pursuing, and I'm a certified Action Coach business coach. I'm also a certified NLP practitioner, and I use my skill sets and my knowledge to help business owners achieve their goals and improve their businesses and take the businesses to new heights. That's what I do. That's what I do in my work. Now, apart from my work life, outside of my work life, I'm an avid automobile enthusiast, and I'm also a biker, and that's what I enjoy doing in my free time. So coming back to the topic under discussion, so what I would be speaking to you today would be about team. It is the 4th step in the 6 steps process that Action Coach has, which we use for improving businesses to build the best business possible. Now, team can also be, considered to be an acronym for Together Everyone Achieves More. It is now, if you discuss with any, any businessman out there, they would probably have 3 main pain points that they have, and one would be money, the second would be time, and the third would definitely be team. And everybody would want more money, would want more time for themselves for working on their business, and would want an excellent team. That's what generally every businessman would say. So at this level of the 6-step process, what we do is that we work with the businessman or the business owner to set a dream team in place. So that's what we do over here, so that your business becomes complete as per the successful business definition that we have in Action Coach, which is a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. And when I say without you, it doesn't mean that you need to move out of the business. It is that you will not be required to put in so much of effort as you are probably putting in right now. So it becomes a autopilot mode kind of a business. Now let us move on to the with the presentation. Now this person that you see on your screen right now, he is Tom Peters. He is a famous management author and speaker. What he has said about team, and when I put this over here, please think about your team and whether this is true for your team. So what he has said is that Most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, enthusiastic, and loyal, except for the 8 hours in a day that they work for you. So this is what Tom Peters has said. It's a very interesting, observation that he has made. Now, at this point, I would like to just put across a quick poll over here, just to get some interaction from your side. How many of you actually agree to what Tom has said? Now, you would be seeing the poll on your screen. You can just, those who agree, you can just mark your choice over there in yes, and those who do not agree can mark as no. So yeah, I'm getting some interesting insights from the people out there. Okay, so yeah, fine. So we've just closed with the poll, and the poll results are being shared. I think you can see that on your screen, and most of you have agreed to what Tom has said. Almost 82% of the people who have polled over here have agreed to what Tom has said. Now that's again something which we need to actually think about. Now, if your team is something like this, then there's definitely room for improvement, and there should be more work done on your team to set your team or make your team into a dream team. Now, before we move forward into the steps that we do, we're just taking a quote from Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc is the founder of McDonald's, and what he has said is, "You're only as good as the people you hire." A very profound statement, because especially for those people who agreed that agreed to what Tom said in the previous slide. So this means that your organization would only be as good as the team that you have, and your team basically determines the future of your organization, or where your organization can go, how far your organization can reach, what are the heights that your organization can achieve. So it is very important that your team be a well-set team and a well-trained team. So moving on to how we can make this possible, how to put a winning team into place, in your business. Now, in Action Coach, we have a 6 keys methodology. We call it 6 keys to a winning team, and I'll take you through each and every one. The first key is strong leadership. Now, when I say strong leadership, it starts with you, the business owner. The business owner is a person who is driving the business, who's a driving force behind the business, and you have to be a strong leader. Now, when I say a strong leader, it doesn't mean that you have to be an autocrat or a person who is commanding and who just gives out instructions without considering your team's inputs. Now, that's not what I mean by strong leadership. Now, strong leadership means that you have to have passion and responsibility. Now, when I come to passion means passion for the business, passion for the goals of the business, for achieving the goals of the business, and to lead. So when you are passionate, it shows in your in what you do in your business, and it inspires people to follow you. So if you look for example, if you look at Ratan Tata, so he is the man behind. He's the man who's leading the Tata Group, and he has a certain persona about himself which inspires not just his own employees but everybody else. So his persona has percolated down to the entire group companies, and people they want to work for the Tata Group. So that kind of a passion you should be able to exhibit, which inspires your team to work towards the goal that you have. And then coming to responsibility. So responsibility, what I mean by responsibility, there should be responsibility towards the business, towards your stakeholders, towards the goals that you have set for the business. And apart from that, you have to take responsibility for the actions and for the decisions that you take in the business. It's very important that that part is there, that you take the ownership and the responsibility for the businesses and for the decisions and the outcomes. So it cannot be going into a blame game kind of a scenario where you are blaming it on to your team. So you have to be the person. You have to be the leader. Basically, you have to lead from the front. That is what we mean by leadership. Now, when this kind of a strong leadership in place, so this is what can be expected. What we call the cycle of business. Now, if you look at the diagram and the order in which each of the the words came up, what the owner does, which is you, who is a strong leader also, what you would do is that you would set the context for your team. You would set the the goals, the objectives for your team. You would give them an environment in which they can perform, and basically take care of your team. You would pay their wages on time and ensure that they're taken care of. When that happens, when you take care of your team becomes a happy team, a satisfied team, and they go beyond the ambit of their whatever job is, and they go beyond, above and beyond basically, and they get into interacting more with the customers and leading to customer satisfaction. Now, not just customer satisfaction, what will happen is that instead of just customer satisfaction, it will go to from customer satisfaction to customer delight, which is the top level in the customer journey. When it reaches a customer delight kind of a scenario, your customers are actually raving fans of the business, and they would give you more referrals. They would bring in more customers. They would talk to their friends about you, and they would bring in more customers to you. So more customers means your base is increasing and your business is increasing. So it reaches kind of a scenario where your customers are kind of like taking care of the business for you. And when that happens, there is more profit being generated, and that profit in turn it takes care of you, the owner. So this is what we mean by the cycle of business, and what we essentially try to achieve with a strong leadership in place. The second key to a winning team is, of course, a common goal. Now, Coach Azad has covered a bit about this in his section in systems. So what we mean by a common goal is actually a compelling vision. It is a vision for your company, a vision which should enroll and inspire. When I say enroll and inspire, like what Coach Azad had said, it is a 100-year goal for your company, and it should attract the right kind of people to your business. The right kind of people should come in and would want to work with you, and should inspire the existing team that you have towards striving towards a goal. For example, we had spoken about the vision of ActionCOACH, which is world abundance through business re-education. Now, if you notice that it is world abundance through business re-education, we're not talking about any particular region. It's not like India abundance, or maybe Kerala abundance, or Maharashtra abundance, something like that. It is world abundance through business re-education. So it will take time to reach that kind of a goal. I mean, it will not happen in like 5 years or 10 years or something like that. It might take a longer time, but then it is an inspiring goal also. It is one in which you're creating abundance for the entire community. So you tend to attract more number of people to you with that kind of a vision statement. And people would be inspired to work along to achieve that. And what happens mostly in organizations is that, one, they might not have a vision in place. And even if there is a vision in place, the issue is that it might be in some file folder sitting inside your, in a filing cabinet. It is not known to your staff or to your employees. So basically, if you have a vision in place, then that vision should be actually widely known, well known to your employees. It should also be known to your stakeholders, meaning your suppliers, maybe your customers also. I mean, it should be prominently displayed throughout your organization. If you have visited some big factories or bigger organizations, you would notice that this kind of a thing is that it is kept over there so that the employees are reminded of it every minute of the day, and every day in and day out, and that's what should inspire them. So that is what we mean by a common goal. So coming to the next key, it is rules of the game. So we need to establish the rules of the game. When I say rules of the game, we need to establish the culture of your organization. Okay, when culture of the organization, if you don't define the culture of the organization, then what happens is that your organization would, any which ways, it would develop a kind of culture which might not be what you have in mind, or what might be required to reach your vision. So what is required is that you would require something which is called a loose-tight culture. Now, when I say loose-tight culture, you would have to define what is the culture statement. Apart from that, the code of conduct, what your employees can do and cannot do, and basically the rules according to which they can perform. So these rules in the culture statement and the code of conduct, it will form kind of a framework within which your employees can work. So you can take the analogy of a football field, like what you're seeing on your screen right now. The rules of the code of conduct or the culture are like the boundary lines of this football field. and those clearly define the area within which the players can move around. And the players would be moving around within this area, and they would never be going out of this boundary line, and they would be scoring their goals. So similarly, you have your culture statement and everything in place, and your employees would be free to move around within the ambit of that culture statement and achieve the goals of the organization. So that's what we intend to say about rules of the game or the culture statement. Now, coming to the next key to a winning team, it is an action plan that we require. Now, every business has to have a proper action plan in place. When I say action plan, your action plan has to specify who does what and by when. So this is very important, because then it brings around a lot of clarity to what the employees are doing in the business. So this again has a connection to systems in which you have defined your the KPIs and the positional contracts basically. So each employee in your organization would have a positional contract or a job description. They know what is expected out of them, and they would have the KPIs according to which they would be measured, and they have a clear kind of agenda by when this has to be done. So typically all high-performing organizations or bigger corporates, they have what you call the appraisal process, in which you define what is it that you're going to achieve in the next 1 year, something of the sort. So action plan is similar to that. Action plan is something bigger than that. It is for the entire organization. You will be defining who does what and by when. And when you have an action plan in place, the best thing about that is that you would be clear about what kind of people you require for the job. Otherwise, what happens generally in businesses is that you just hire a guy who comes to you asking for a job, and then he is not fit, or he doesn't fit into the the scenario in your organization, and it becomes a difficult situation for you to manage. So when you have an action plan in place, you know what is expected out of each position that you have in your organization, and you can hire the right people for the right job, or basically get the right people on the bus. Now, we at ActionCOACH, we have a lot of hiring systems which we utilize to help the business owner to hire the right people. And we also use psychometric tests to kind of like come up with to get to understand the behavioral competencies of each person, to see whether he fits into the expectations out of a certain job, and whether he will fit in with your existing team in your organization. That is very important, because if that fit is not there, then there is a lot of friction being generated, and you would be spending your time on firefighting, and you would not be having any productive work getting done. So if you have an action plan in place, you will have a smooth flowing kind of a system. And the fifth key to a winning team is support risk taking. Now, when I say support risk-taking behavior, this is very important over here, because without this kind of support that you give to your employees, they would not want to take any risks, or they would not want to move out of their comfort zone, or challenge themselves or outdo themselves. Now, when you have employees who are always in their comfort zone, they only do things according what is expected out of them, just what is the bare minimum that is expected out of them. What is happening is that your business is stagnating. It doesn't grow. And what doesn't grow, essentially, it kind of like dies over a period of time. So risk-taking behavior has to be supported for something which we call kaizen. And it's a Japanese word which stands for change good, or a good change. And it is constant and never-ending improvement that we should be aiming at. Now, if we need to get that, if your team needs to understand that they need to put in more work, and they need to, move out of what is expected out of them, then you have to have a risk-taking behavior support. You have to support that kind of a behavior over there. You might also have to supplement it with some training. So, coming to the sixth and the final key for a winning team. The sixth key for a winning team is 100% involvement and inclusion. It goes without saying. I mean, all the people in your organization, right from your receptionist and right up to your CEO, if you have one, or up to you, everybody should be working towards the same goal. They should be actually propelling the organization towards the vision which you have for the organization. Everybody should be involved in that, and everybody should be included as part of that. So, people should all be working in the same direction, basically. It should not be that your employees have some other agenda in mind and you have some other agenda in mind and you're working on two different tangents and it goes for a toss. So that is not what we're looking at. We're looking at 100% involvement and inclusion. Everybody should be involved. So if you have all these six keys in place, starting with strong leadership up to 100% involvement, what you get is actually, a team who works without you. And that is when the action coach definition of a successful business becomes complete. And when that happens, when you have a team which kind of like performs without the need for you, you get more time to work on other aspects of the business, and you get synergy. And when I say synergy is by definition, it is something which is exponential. It gives you exponential results, and it is not an additive kind of results which is coming. It's exponential results. So when you get so if you look at the 6 steps process that we have gone through right now, you have started in mastery, where you have set the basics of the business. You have set the base on which your business would be built. In niche, you have come to a situation where you have defined your marketing, how your marketing would be taken forward, and what is your unique selling proposition. And you don't have any competition or any price competition at that point in time. So you become profitable over there. Then the next step that you do is that you put in systems in place. Now, why do you put systems in place? Systems in place is required for making your business system dependent and not people dependent. Your business should run in spite of the fact that there might be changes in your attrition or something of that sort. So your organization becomes system dependent and not people dependent. And then we concentrate on the team level, where we put a dream team in place or a high performance team in place. Now, when you have a high performance team in place, it leads to synergy. Now you have a well-oiled, at this stage, you have a well-oiled machinery. Say your business is running like a supercharged car, maybe. And you get a lot of results, you generate a lot of profits out of it. When that happens, you can actually look at maybe expanding your business to different areas. Maybe geographically you can expand, or you could maybe look at something like franchising. You franchise your business and you develop your business across different territories. And when that happens, you start getting a lot of income coming into your business, and that's when you see the results. And then you have an option of possibly going for what you say, you can possibly hand it over to your next generation, which is what happens mostly in India anyways. And you can also have the option of maybe selling out your business to some other person, so that you can take out the money from your business. Now, when you have that money from your business, this connects to the entrepreneurial ladder that we talked about at the beginning of this presentation. You become an investor. You basically have money in your hand, and you would be able to invest in different kinds of businesses. And you have already, proved yourself with the best business, and you know how it is done. And you will be able to help these different businesses to, again, achieve massive results. And that results in growth and then freedom for you. So this is how we at Action Coach, we use a 6-step methodology to help business owners to achieve massive results. And by working with your business coach, you will learn to generate more cash flow, more profit, more teamwork, and more free time. So now it's the time to get into action. So as part of this webinar, for a limited number of people, what we are offering is that we can do a 1-hour complimentary business health checkup session for you, and in which we would be sitting with you and would be examining your business, what your priorities are and how your business is doing. And we would be coming up with certain strategies to improve your business. So all of you on the call right now who are interested in getting this business health checkup done, please type BHC in your chat box, and we would be connecting with the first 20 people who are doing this, and it will be complimentary for these 20 people. So please let me see some interaction on the chat box. With that, I come to the end of the session. And again, once more, I thank you for having taken time out from your busy schedules and joining us on this webinar on this Saturday evening. Now, I would hand it over to Coach Ratish, who would moderate the questions. You can type in the questions that you have in your in the Q&A chat Q&A box or the chat box, and we'll take the questions individually. Thank you.
Thank you, coaches, for a phenomenal session. I was amazed with the thought process that you guys brought up. There are a couple of questions already which have come in, and I will start off with the first one, and possibly, this could, Coach Kaushik can address this. So the question is with respect to, and this was, I believe, Anurag who had asked this question, with respect to the mix of fixed and variable cost, what would be your recommendation for small businesses in today's time? Is it better to have more variable or more fixed cost?
So, Anurag, thank you for this question. It is a very, very valid question in today's time after the post-corona period. I would say, when you're talking about a fixed cost and a variable cost, you are actually referring to the actual cost behind it. So if you're talking about the employment in your organization, don't take the employment as a cost, first of all. Please treat this employment as an investment, because if you invest in a good people, then you invest in a less number of people, so your cost also remains the same. Because in a variable cost is basically when you are employing somebody on a contract basis, and he may or may not give his 100% to your organization. So that's what my answer to this question is. Is it okay, Anurag?
Any other coaches would want to comment on this? Okay, good. So basically, Anurag, just to add to what Kaushik mentioned, I think we need to look at the marginal costing principle, and you need to see in current date and age, which is COVID times, business is very low. I would say focus on reducing your fixed cost and look at variable cost only, because variable cost is linked to your sales, and if your sales are low right now, you need to cut down on your fixed cost if you can. There are certain costs that you have to incur, and if you have to incur those, then you need to look at how are you going to use your sales incrementally to cover your sales. Obviously, if you need more details and more discussion on this, please feel free to get in touch with one of the coaches on this call, and they'll be happy to get into a discussion or happy to address it during the free business health check that you may want to sign up right now. Let me move to the next question. This is about, the question is, you're telling me about autopiloting simultaneously. You want the owner as a leader. Isn't it again manual piloting? I can throw this question to either Azad or to Praveen, if any of them would care to answer this one.
I think I'll try
Sure.
answering that. So when I say autopiloting, even in an autopilot kind of a scenario, there is a person who is sitting over there in the cockpit. There is a pilot who is available in the cockpit, and what he basically might not be flying the plane with full involvement, but he would actually be looking at the dashboard and looking at the key indicators and seeing whether it is going in the right direction, ready to take over manual control whenever that is required. So that is what I was saying by autopiloting is it would. I mean, in a normal kind of a scenario, your organization runs ahead without any issue. But for example, what we are going through right now, a pandemic kind of a situation, you cannot expect your organization to go in a autopilot kind of a mode. You will have to get hands-on with your organization at that point in time, and that's what we mean by being the leader. You cannot expect your team to do things on themselves by themselves without giving direction. So I hope I have been able to answer that.
Any of the coaches would want to add more to what Praveen has just answered? Coach Praveen?
If I could just add to what Coach Praveen has said, and he has been very right in saying that, even if you have got a team, it is important to let the team know the direction. See, the thing is this, that one thing that most business owners, they fail to realize is, when you say that you have got a team, what you have actually got are a collection of people who are continuously looking at you for guidance. Now, that is not how we identify a team. What we want a team to do is, they should know exactly what to do even in your absence. But having said that, they need to be given the right training. They need to be given the right direction. The right course correction has to be done for them. So for that, you have to act as a leader. So even when they are doing things on their own, you want them, the business to be an autopilot. It is important that those people who are, who have who are running the operations of a business, they know exactly what is to be done. So from that, you have to be a leader for them. So that's what I would just say.
Great. I think good advice there, Coach Love. I think so. Really, the difference is what we're talking about here is autopiloting and leading is actually the difference between managing and being a leader. So the business gets managed with the systems, but as a leader, you provide the overall direction, the guidance that always needs to be there. So as a leader, we expect, and as an entrepreneur leader, we would expect you to lead your organization to that at the higher level and let the business manage itself. I think in your chat boxes, all the coaches, their email IDs are there. Feel free to reach out to them. And before, I think Kaushik, there was a request that somebody wanted to see the money mastery slide. So if you can share if you can show the money mastery slide, that will be great.
Yeah, Mansi, can you share that slide?
Yes, yes.
When Love talked about the Domino's example and with Praveen's experience with McDonald's, and also I think there was an example about McDonald's, how to increase the average sale value. Those to me are such phenomenal basic examples that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, how we can drive our sales forward.
Yeah, that's it.
So here is the money mastery slide for those who are interested in seeing this. And let me go back to Coach Praveen here and, with his experience with McDonald's. So, it's so interesting that McDonald's has put this huge, phenomenal strategy of increasing average selling price and reduced it merely to, as Love talked about in his, that it is reduced to a mere sales script. But what they're trying to do is really driving their sales up. What are your thoughts, Coach Praveen? Because you worked for McDonald's, so it'll be interesting to get that perspective.
Yeah. So see, the logic behind it is that it is easier to get more out of the wallet of a customer who is already inside your organization or inside your company or inside your organization, rather than going and getting a new customer from outside. So if you typically look at it, what we normally say in management is that it costs 6 times more to get a new customer than to serve an existing customer. Yeah. So that is the methodology that we use at McDonald's. And he's already there. He's right there in front of you, in front of your POS, and he is standing there. He wants your product. Now it's just a question of putting some. I mean, it's just a process of just putting some questions. It's like you prod the customer, and then he just goes with the flow. So that's what we do. So and it's the easiest method in which you can increase your revenue. So that's the and you have different methods also. It's not just what you say, the size of the meal. I mean, you're hitting the customer at different points. It's not just you don't stop with whether you want to make it a meal. Then you ask what size of meal that you require. You have small, medium, or large, And then again, you ask whether you want cheese with your burger, or you want double cheese with your burger. So all that. So it depends. Again, it depends upon the person who is at the POS. Now, if that particular guy is not a person who is going according to the script, or who's not using the script, then we don't get that. We don't get this kind of an average check increase. So that is very clearly visible also when there are new people, new guys who have just joined, who are manning the POS. Our average check kind of like, we can track it on a kind of a hourly basis. So we'll see that dropping, and then the shift manager, he goes and he observes what is happening over there, and he finds what the reason is, and then he tells them to start doing this. It's basically, you simply put, it's like upselling. It's upselling your existing client. That's what we are doing over there. That's
great. So let me reach out to Coach Azad, and from his vast experience on the textile side, you would have put in phenomenal systems, and especially, textile business is so operations driven. If you are, supplying as, exports out from Bangladesh, they are so process driven. What kind of systems that you have seen that really worked? If you can talk about any one example that have really worked for organizations that you have consulted.
So thanks, Ratesh, for having these questions to me. So basically, especially in the kind of textile business, I mean, there is a hell lot of process involved, starting from the marketing and until the export out or ex-factory out. So basically, in order to have these systems, so earlier days it was too much manual driven, but nowadays is, the good companies, they put the systems in place. So what they have done, that is called like, they have got the sales team systems. So what they have developed the systems like kind of ERP, or kind of some of them developed individual, some sort of ERP system, so that customizes their need to fulfill. So what they have done, start from before taking the orders, everything they put in place with a very much system driven, so that when the customers put the orders, that is already showing in the system, and then they have put the TNA, time and action calendar, that who is the one is responsible for the purchase, and what is the timeline, and what is the supply chain portfolio for them, who are the supply chain team, or what are the supply chain vendors they will be looked for. So basically everything is very much predefined from the start to end. So from there they go for the purchase policy, and then they put it, normally everything is put it in the TNA, time and action calendar. So when they put it in time and action calendar, each and every department knows that who is going to do what and when. So
Right.
that is very defined, and with a very much time and action driven.
So participants, if you're looking at the time and action calendar kind of a requirement, reach out to any of the action coaches. That's a brilliant tool that works extremely well. There's another interesting question coming up. What's a good strategy for team development? Hire fresh and inexperienced people and nurture them in your company culture, or hire experienced people and try adapting them to company culture? Let me throw this one to our coach, Lav Kumar Agarwal. Lav, would you, want to answer this for Jose?
Thank you so much, Ratish, for this question. And this question, it's a very good question. But I would say one thing over here, that instead of trying to think of people only in terms of experience and hence easy to nurture, and unexperienced and easy to nurture, and experienced and difficult to nurture, think about something else. What we always say is this: we always hire for attitude and we train for skills. right? So even if that experienced person that you are thinking of having, always make sure that whoever you are hiring, that person has the attitude of, first of all, contributing, secondly, of learning. If your employee is not of a state of mind that the person can acquire new skills, even an unexperienced person is not going to be of much use to you. And if that experienced person comes with the kind of, the coachable attitude, because of which this person can, easily adapt into your culture, well, that person is a taker. So what we always say is this, when we are trying to hire, and it was covered briefly in today's session also, that our hiring process has to be about building a team which takes up responsibility. And to take up that responsibility, it is important to have the right mindset, the right attitude. In fact, there are trainings within Action Coach which are aimed at aligning the team so that their mindset becomes that of a person who could easily adapt into the culture of the company, right? So that is what I would say, that always hire for attitude and train for skills. What do you say about that, Ritesh?
Great. Thank you, Love. Any other coaches would want to add to what Love just mentioned?
Maybe I'll, give a
Coach
different
Praveen.
perspective to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're talking about fresh and inexperienced and experienced people, so it also depends upon what position you're hiring for. So that is of paramount importance. If you're hiring for kind of a technical position where his experience matters, then definitely you have to go for a experienced person. But then you also have to check his attitude, because like what Coach Love said, attitude is more important than aptitude. So that is what we can say, because he has to fit in with your entire organizational culture, and he has to have a growth mentality. That is what we could say. So we at the Action Coach, like what I had also briefly mentioned in our in the presentation, when we hire people, we have psychometric testing systems which are available, which which kind of like identifies what is his behavioral type, what is the kind of dominant behavioral type which is there. And according to that, we can classify a person into 4 different categories, and we can see whether he fits in for that particular position which is vacant. So if it is like especially in technical kind of position, this is very important. So you might require experienced people. You cannot go with a fresher. So that thing is that has to be kept in mind. But for maybe something kind of like a sales job, which you can train people, you can you can go ahead and hire a inexperienced person, and that works well also. I mean, if you look at the cost structure of things, that works better. So that's what my take would be. You have to look at what is the position that you're hiring for. That is of paramount importance.
Good. Thank you, Coach Praveen. I think we are beyond time. So again, once again, this is the time, folks, to sign up for a free business health check with one of the coaches. So please raise your hands right now in the chat box. Mention yes, interested in business health check, or just type the words BHC, and we will get in touch with you. With that, I would like to thank all the coaches, Coach Kaushik, Coach Love, Coach Azad, and Coach Praveen for wonderful, insightful webinar today. Thank you so much, participants, for spending your afternoon and early evening with us this Saturday. Thank you so much, and we look forward to connecting back with all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.